All right, so I guess it became that the eye camera footage was sold to various other individuals and companies and agencies, and that even my family had access to my eye camera. And from the sounds of things, everyone has a device that they can all, you know, get on, and it links up to this, what's described to me as this little tiny um, teardrop, I'll just say teardrop shaped camera that she describes as being able to swim up to the islands and see out, um, to see everything that you're able to see. And I'm heard that people can almost do something like a conference call, and all of them even be able to talk and interact and make fun of you all at the same time. I've been told and heard that they also place bets against you or surrounding different things that they have set up around you in your life. So the people around me started to get real sneaky sneakerson, and they started to like set up and orchestrate different messed up things. Um, they would like set things up to try to get me suspicious and to try to get me to like bust in, like try to bust people and stuff like that. That was one of the things that they would do, and I guess they would watch through the eye camera, my eye camera thing, and like were probably actually committing those atrocities and crimes and um, doing those activities and stuff like that that I was worried about. Um, they would basically do those kinds of things or act like they were doing those kinds of things and set it up for me to worry about it and then to try to like catch them doing it or whatever. And then they would set it up to where I would never catch them doing anything, and then they could turn around and everybody just treat me like I was crazy and stuff like that, even though they were all just doing like some really insane stuff. I would say definitely looking back that people were for sure able to get away with way more than they would have gotten away with someone who didn't have the same surveillance issues, and they were able to definitely treat me with a great deal more disregard. I know that a lot of the people involved in the implants and injections, and especially the eye camera stuff and the Neuralink stuff, are probably gay, just because they I know that people work together to send dudes to me, like constantly. It and that I feel like there's very little to no interest in females um, behind the veil of the people who are actually watching. And then I'd say within the following 5 years after that, uh, not very long after that, um, that I noticed that there was something in my ear, that there was something in my ear canal, and it's just like this lump, slight, like about the size of a grain of rice or smaller, sitting in my ear canal, and at first it was really swollen and horrible, and I had to like make an appointment to have it seen and potentially removed. And I actually did end up going in there a couple times, and the surgeon, when I finally did sit down and allow her to look at it, she said that it was neither a tumor or a cyst, and that she was not allowed to operate on it. And she was really rude to me, and just kind of like made me leave. Didn't explain any of it, just was super rude. But it was super, super painful. It made me wonder if I'd been like given some kind of weird microchip in my ear, because that would be one more place yet again that I wouldn't be able to just, take my eye out and, look in there for myself and see what it is, or, remove it for myself. I would have to like set up, camera stuff and all this stuff in order to, or, I would have to, set some stuff up in order to see in my ear, or, have like some, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That actually swelled up really bad. It swelled up so bad that it cut off my ear canal entirely, and it was still swelling out and stuff. I ended up going over to one of my neighbor's houses, where I asked her to pour peroxide into my ear. And I just let that peroxide fizzle and bubble and everything, and we were just letting that stuff just pour out of my ear. Eventually, some pretty nasty stuff came out of it, but it still remains like there's a little tiny grain of something in there. Um, it does kind of remind me of the RFID chip stuff, and you can definitely tell still, but it doesn't like bother me like it once did. It's a little bit achy if I start to pay attention to it, but I don't really notice it anymore. I would say that it was incredibly painful and debilitating for at least the first month. Easily the first month. I can't really remember beyond that, but. And I guess this all sort of, fed into some weird, incensey, fetishes and things like that, that have to do with, family abuses, without being too graphic. So people were able to sell access. Well, Elon Musk, I guess, was able to sell access of this eye camera to different world leaders, different people, uh, kings and presidents of things. Most def, the CIA has access to it. I would say that anyone who has any of those kind of eye cameras, that their nation and potentially other nations' intelligence agencies definitely have access to that. One of the really bad things that they would do would be to set things up for me to worry about my kids. They would set things up for me to worry that my kids were being like hurt or abused in secret, and then set me up to like try to find out, or to question people, or to like be freaked out or whatever. And um, another sad thing to go along with that is that they would eventually teach my kids to do the same abusive thing that they were doing. You know what I mean? And be like, your mom's got a camera in her eye, and you just got to act like this and that to her. And she's also been Neuralinked, so you got to really put her through it. You know what I mean? If you don't really put her through it, then they're going to be able to tell. So it's like, I guess in addition to having access to my eye camera footage, they also have access to some of my biological and physiological, um, my bio status. Not only do they have access to be able to read different processes occurring within me. But I am understanding that they also have had the ability to influence and even control the minds and uh, the behaviors and actions of others. I've heard that people do have the ability to overcome that. I've heard that it sometimes takes a little while. One microchip that they talk about, that they say that they gave everyone, is one that causes a person to lean more towards lust. And that through certain spiritual practices and through other concentrated practices, that a person can learn to overcome that. All right, and so it would be that, like, week after week, month after month, year after year, basically anybody who I was around, anyone who I dated especially, or anybody who I hung out with for any period of time, it was just people would kind of act sketched out. They would kind of act like there was something going on behind the scenes. They would make it obvious. There was even times that people admitted that they had contracts on me. And a contract isn't necessarily always to get rid of somebody. Sometimes there's contracts to do other things, and one of those things is called energy harvesting, which ties back into this AI kill shot stuff, or that's its nickname. And it's what I was talking about before. It turns a person into like a human battery. Okay. So there's certain different things that that they can do to get energy out of a person. And this is where the video cut off before the last video. Whenever I was telling you guys, I was trying to say that I was letting you know about all of this different technology along with the Neuralink technology, because I would like for you to understand how all of these different technologies, when combined together, become like the ultimate, I almost said ultimate death trap for someone. And it's really, truly sad to me that someone would have access to all of that money, all of that support, all of that technology, and have, such an incredible mind, but that they would choose to use it to be invasive to others. And I know that I said in one of my former videos that back in the day when I knew that they had implanted me, that I wished that they had waited a few years until they had some simpler, smaller microchip and used that instead. But the truth is that the blood-brain barrier should really not be crossed. It shouldn't be damaged in any way. Like, why would you do that? And the brain should never be intruded upon. It should never be punctured. It should never be damaged. I would even go so far as to say that unless it is to benefit someone, that the skull itself should never be tampered with or broken or, chiseled, punctured. Unless unless an immediate pressure is needed I don't know. So I just wanted to clear that up, that it's not okay to be invasive into someone's skull, especially without their knowledge, their permission, anything like that. And all right, so, and a lot of them have learned how to incorporate their access to eye footage. They've learned how to incorporate it with their own weird religious agendas. And so when it came to, I guess, the Luciferians, and certain others who disagree with my personal religion, they were setting up all manner of things and trying to orchestrate all kinds of things. And humiliation rituals has been huge for all of these people, and you know, witchcraft and all that. That's all the sort of stuff that I've had to deal with and put up with and combat while I've been out here, or even when I was, especially whenever I was forced to just be in isolation. They're literally like isolating my kids and I, and financially controlling us, and while they were summoning demons collectively as covens, um, and practitioners. They were literally, I'm told, they were summoning demons, and I actually did experience the effects of that. It's some weird CIA stuff, yes, I know. Also, when you've been meddled with technologically, and people can read what's going on with you physiologically, they can tell when you're asleep and when you're awake. And because I was just this technological guinea pig that people were told that they could just do whatever they wanted to, they ended up selling access, or I'm told that they actually took access from my skull and put it on the dark web for people to view for some period of time, that it was on the dark web. And they also put hidden cameras all throughout my apartments outside of me, and it became an all-around science experiment. And with what footage was captured of intimate moments or nudity or, bathroom, shower, things like that would be sold. And it was actually at some point live streamed to OnlyFans, and the money went to family court employees and other officials to keep me alone and single in an apartment by myself for 2.5 years. And it would get, I guess, boring for all of these people watching, especially the wealthier ones that are that think that they need a little bit more. That think that they need a little bit more entertainment than they really do. They were paying for. They would pay for me to get messed with so badly that I would basically lose my jobs, be made homeless, just have a hard time all the way around. But they would prefer me to be homeless, so that and they would prefer me to not have any money and to not have any kind of support network, so that they can basically see how I react and respond and do things. And they want to kind of see me in distress and put me in distress and keep me in real high stress situations. And they also want to be able to see what it's like on the very lowest end of things, like the lowest of the low ghetto places and stuff like that. And I have ended up walking into a lot of weird, dark, real ghetto places, and I've heard that they prefer for things to be on edge and rough, and they especially, I'm told, pay for access to eye footage, or the point of view from people who are prostitutes, people who are drug dealers, people who are homeless. They would rather see the things that they don't have access to as millionaires, billionaires. They would rather see people, shooting up and selling themselves and just being desperate and, cutting out drugs and things like that. That's what they want to see, and that's what they pay to see. And if you don't want to play that game and you're just trying to raise your kids, it becomes a serious problem. I would go through periods of time where I would kind of try my hardest to forget about the Neuralinking and the whole eye camera possibility and the possibility of there being, a million viewers watching right alongside me. I tried my hardest to kind of forget about that possibility sometimes and just uh, do what I would do anyways. But I'll tell you, I really never did lose the feeling like I was being watched. That was a feeling that followed me around constantly. Um, there were times that I bought surveillance equipment and tried to set things up, and there were times that I even used phones and different dash cams and weird little hidden cameras and stuff to try to film what different things that might have been going on at different times that I was suspicious. And every single time that I would return to any of those cameras to try to review the footage, it would seem that everything would have been deleted, and it would just be a little bit of some film, and then it would just cut off. Every single time that I tried to film anything or protect myself or have surveillance in any way, it was all just constantly messed with. Someone would go back and mess with it every time that I fell asleep. It was like somebody would mess with it, whether there was anyone there or not. So that was a really bizarre thing that kept happening that was super horrible. I did at one point almost kind of trick my managers into letting me see some footage, and that was the one and only time that I saw someone who I think was my twin sister or a copycat, someone who they were dressing up to look exactly like me, or a twin. The weather's beginning to turn here in West by God, Virginia, and so the gnats are kind of just all over the place. And I have so much more to tell you, but before I allow it to be any longer, I will go ahead and give it a rest and upload this, and then I will make the next part. All right, peace.